Today's episode of Retail Leaders is brought to you by Russell's Heating, Cooling, Plumbing and Electric. They're a family-owned and operated company out of Chesapeake that offers prompt, reliable and courteous service for homes and businesses throughout the Hampton Roads area. Their experienced and superbly trained team can diagnose, repair, install and maintain just about any heating, cooling, plumbing and electrical component in your home. Visit russellshvac.com or call 757-809-2192. And welcome to today's episode of the Retail Leaders podcast. I'm Kylie Ross-Seibert, and once again joined by my co-host, Avi Shiano.
Welcome, everyone. And today we are so lucky to have Tim Dooley from the Retro Den on our podcast. So Tim, can you just get us started here and tell us a little bit about your business and the unique things that you make? Because we know, but our audience does not.
Sure thing. Hi, my name is Tim Dooley. I am one half of what used to be the Retro Den. Now I'm 100%. I started this little venture with my daughter when she was 10 years old. Something fun to do on the weekends. I'm sorry, here I'm the lighting guy with poor lighting in my little makeshift studio here. But it was something fun to do on the weekends. She wanted to learn about power tools. She was very interested in the fact that some of the tools had boys' names. Why is it called a Phillips screwdriver? Why is it called a plumb bob? So it was very cute. And I wanted to teach her how to use power tools and public speaking. So we would go to events. I wanted her to think outside the box, and I wanted her to learn how to repurpose things and not see them for just what they were, but what they could be. So to that end, it's worked. She's 18 going off to college, and she's done very well for herself, not working retail. That was the fifth of all the items to focus on. So after that, so about 5 years ago, it was just me, and I would go to the events, and sometimes she would come along. And it started with a cocktail shaker at a place that I visited, that every time I went to turn, it was a cocktail shaker lamp, and every time I went to turn it on, it would tip over. And being an engineer, that frustrated the hell out of me. So I decided I found one at a thrift store, and I made it for my mom for a birthday present. She loved it. Her friends loved it. People in the family liked it. So I started making more and more. And then I decided to drop them off at Urban Castaways when they were still open, where the 757 reuse center is on, I believe that's Granby. So it kind of took on a life of its own when 8 of the 10 lamps that I dropped off sold, and it was incredibly what they priced them for. And I was very impressed, and I decided, let me try this as a part-time venture. And it's worked out very well. I've met some great people. We are a philanthropic venture, and a good percentage of what I make goes to my daughter's orphanage in China. We haven't contributed for 2 years because it's been, with COVID, everything's been not moving as well as it could, but this year we're restarting. And I make upwards of 6 to 10 lamps a year, with profits going to Susan G. Komen in memory of my sister who passed away in 2010.
Oh, wow. That's a great cause. You mentioned engineering's your background. So having this sort of becoming more and more of your time, tell us a little bit about your background then in engineering, how you came, and what you do, or what were you doing in the engineering field?
Got it. So I am the product of my father was a marine engineer and worked into becoming a maritime lawyer. So using his engineering background and shipboard background to become a maritime lawyer. Interesting enough, he was representative of the World War II contingency of the groundbreaking of the World War II memorial, because he and a few other people were the ones who made the Merchant Marine part of that World War II memorial. At first, they were not considering Merchant Marine as part of that. So my dad has the engineering skills. My mom is a self-taught designer and artist. She did ceramic, she did paintings. She took a swatch from a curtain and she turned into a full mural at this beautiful 14-room Victorian home up in North Jersey where I grew up, and people would come in amazed at what she did. Instead of using paper borders around the top of the walls, the ceiling, she would paint the stencils and hand paint the borders herself in this very gorgeous Victorian home in North Jersey. So yeah, it was. So I'm a hybrid.
Yeah. I was wondering where the creative side came from. So that's your mom.
That's mom. Mom forced me to take a class at a public service electric and gas facility. They had a basement where they had all this neat stuff set up to teach kids how to do stuff. And there was a Saturday morning where they would teach you how to make a lamp. It was a kit.
Mhm.
And I remember making the darn thing, and at 10 years old, thinking, "This is too easy."
Wow.
It's a base, it's a piece where the wire goes through, and you put the lamp socket in, and a light bulb, and you put a lampshade on. That's a lamp. And I'm like, it's really just too easy.
Oh, that's great. So the retro den, obviously the word retro, makes sense. But how did you come up with the whole, branding of it, the retro den?
So the name came to me, and then I found out there was a place called the Retro Den in, I think it's in Arkansas, of all places. They've since gone under, but my fiance Belle Lansdale, who you interviewed a few months back, she obtained the website through her sister-in-law in Peru. So we got that. I was very happy that website was available.
Yeah.
And
She's an
so
artist in her own right too.
she's an incredible artist. She really is. And you interviewed her with her tax business, and which is utterly amazing in and of itself. To already speak 3 languages and then learn the language of taxes, which I think is just phenomenal. So, so the retro idea was I've always honored. I've always liked Made in America, and here I am with my daughter, adopted from China, doing all this honoring Made in the USA, a little tongue in cheek, and she's been very good about that. But I've always appreciated American manufacturing and the quality and how it lasts forever. And I would find some of these cocktail shakers and percolators and teapots that were made in the USA. And if you find them and they have no dents on them, they look like they just came off the showroom floor. They're pristine. Here they are 80, 100 years later, and they still look good, and they're bulletproof, and they work. Someone gave me a Cuisinart coffee maker where you put the beans in, you put the water, it grinds up the beans, and it spits it all out into the drip coffee maker. And the door kept opening, and it spilled coffee all over the place. I called Cuisinart; they wouldn't make good on it because they said it was more than 2 years old. I said, I've only had it for 2 years. I have it 2 years old. I said, I got a percolator from 1907. It still works. So they wouldn't make good on that. So I really honor American quality and workmanship, and it's really hoping American manufacturing would come back in some way, shape, or form. But we'll see. But I really do. When you see some of the stuff that was made, automobiles, light fixtures, mid-century modern just appeals to me. That whole, I really like that TV show Mad Men, and how guys wore suits and hats and women were impeccably dressed. And whether you were going to the store or going to church or going to work, you dressed to the nines. There were no blue jeans. There was nothing like that. So it's an impressive time in American history.
Never know. It might just circle back again.
It might.
So, Tim, where do you make all of your creations? Like, are you home based? Do you have a studio?
I'm home based. I have a workshop that I'm trying to develop, but in the meantime, my kitchen is my laboratory. So I would go through waves where the kitchen would be messy through the late summer and fall, and then sell November, December, October, November, December, and then January things slow down a little bit, clean up. In addition to my professional career as an engineer, I'm also dabbling in real estate, where I have a few properties where I try to maintain those as well. So it's a lot of juggling, but I really, really enjoy it, especially when people see what you do and honor that time in America when stuff was like the gold standard of world excellence. Everything from automobiles, televisions, radios, and then all of a sudden it started to shift over. Stuff was made in Japan, then it was made in other parts of Asia. Now it's made mostly in China. So I'd like to see that come back, but I don't know if that ever really will. So it's nice to honor that. And I do that at the Painted Tree with my buddy Eric Warden from Bob FM. He and I share that same love of all things vintage, and he got that from his mom as well. So it's neat to be.
I was going to bring up the Painted Tree because I was just perusing there a few weekends ago, and then I stumbled upon Tim's Creations, and I looked at my boyfriend and I was like, I know this guy. He is one of our members. And so along with the Painted Tree, where are some other places people can find your lamps?
So I am slowly transitioning out of the Play art exhibit. What used to be the Pottery Barn in MacArthur Mall. They've had their issues. They're trying to fix things up. But the owner of the place said, yeah, we're not getting the sales that we should. We're now going to give things away. It's a very philanthropic venture. If you haven't been to Play, yet. I think they joined, didn't they, Kylie?
They did. They're one
They
of our
did.
members.
Yeah.
So Barney John is an upcycler in his own right. He's from Iran. He came here, went to college, and never went back. And he has turned what used to be the Pottery Barn into this phenomenal art exhibit that changes every week. It's a vision of Norfolk 500 years in the future. The waters of global warming have receded, and it reveals a city made of trash. And it says the people who live there are the trash people. And everything in the art exhibit is made from stuff that have been donated, like from thrift stores, junk, found in the trash. But he's a very, very eclectic guy. From a guy who was in the finance world to go into art, very amazing.
And
That's
to have
cool.
such a very,
Yeah.
So the other location is in the Vibe District, right next to the 17th Street Marketplace. So it's a little unknown because from Monday to Friday, it's a real estate store. It's a real estate office. And on the weekends, they open their doors for artists to put, artists have their artwork permanently mounted on the walls. They have, they're not charged rent. And all they have to do is donate 10% of the profit from their sales to their local charity.
Is that Vertical Vibe?
Vertical Vibe, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Cindy and Dennis Hauser are an amazing couple to offer their real estate space. They said, hey, we're in the middle of the Vibe District. We have all these walls, 2 huge rooms for their office. They have a big meeting room and then desks in the other side. And it's really a great venture. Some of the best artists in the area are there, as well as people who are up and coming. And it's a great spot. It's a really great spot.
Yeah. Well, and also, I mean, the nonprofit that works out of there is also
Working Class Karma with Laurie Dunn. You've had Laurie Dunn on before, and I was the one who told her to meet you. So it's I believe in what Retail Alliance is doing for the small business owner, and I feel like I'm a small business owner. I will be more established one day, but with my full-time job, this is just a hobby for now, and I'm really enjoying the attention and the fun and the meeting of people, mostly getting to interact.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've had chats with you, and the people that you have met. It's just you've had a great experience, even if it is sort of like part-time. But the amount of joy, I can feel it from you when I talk to you about it, and the passion.
My friendship with Eric Ward is very funny. Some people are calling it a bromance. His wife, especially, and my fiance, or even my daughter, picked up on that. But since we both share that passion for vintage stuff, we're always, if he's at a antique store or a thrift store or a yard sale or something, he'll send me a picture of something he thinks would make a cool lamp, or I'll pick up something that I think would be perfect for his guitar, where he turns old guitars into art. And I think his stuff is absolutely amazing, and our passion resonates with each other.
Yeah, I was going to ask where you found most of the things that you repurpose. So do you go? One of my favorite places to walk around is Antique Mall on Bonnie Road. Are you?
I have visited there. Yes, some great. I find some good tap handles there, way in that one back aisle. Sometimes I find bits and pieces. I find a piece of marble like that would be used for a great base for putting an espresso pot lamp, or I found a Bacardi pour spout recently, where it's the Bacardi bat, and it inspired one of my lamps. It was a Budweiser tap handle that I converted into a lamp called FCK COVID. Interesting enough, it got banned on Facebook, the name. I said, wait a minute, I see FCK cancer. What's wrong with COVID? So, but it was a beautiful crystal base, which represented the transparency we were not getting from the country with COVID, what was going on in the world. It had the Budweiser tap handle, which represented all the happy hours we missed because of COVID. It had a hubcap, a Ford hubcap, which represented the fact that we couldn't drive anywhere, go anywhere, do anything, locked down. And then you had the Bacardi bat, and we all know what that represented. So it sold within the first couple of weeks there at the Painted Tree. I thought that was very cool.
Do you normally put that much thought in behind everything that you put on your lamps?
Not always, but that one came to me. When I found that bat, that was like home run, that was a good one. I'm working on one right now. Eric Warden's dad had gotten an award, first place award for car competition or something back in 1967. And it's a Chevy hubcap. And he goes, well, what can we do with this? And this is before he saw a lot of my stuff. I've had it for probably 2 years now, and I haven't finished it, but I'm very close to it because it's a thought process. It's not just it's not a kit. You don't buy the pieces and put it together. You got to find the stuff that makes it what it is. So it has his dad's hubcap. It has a pair of dye that his mother had picked up in Las Vegas, a pair of red translucent dye. And I'm working something in from Bob FM, the radio station where he works, into the whole lamp. I'm almost done with that. So it's a process. And sometimes they're fun. Sometimes they make a statement. Most of the time it's I call it tugging on the heartstrings. You find something that resonates with people. Like I've made 8 of these animal cracker tin can touch lamps where they sell as soon, like within the first week you put it out, boom, they're gone.
I saw that one. I saw that. That was so cool. I literally went up to it and I touched it and I was like, how did he do that? I don't know anything about engineering, but that was crazy. I was like, I did not expect that to just work so perfectly.
I actually got in trouble at one show where some people came by and I said, we encourage touching. And a group of ladies laughed about it. Another group came by and I said that again, and they were indignant. I said, we encourage touching. And they're like, wow, what did you just say?
So tell us a little bit then, the painted tree is fairly new. Tell us a little bit about the experience that you've had.
Wow, what a venue. I mean, I've had my stuff at certain places around town where I was paying close to $200 a month for rent and nothing sold because I did a 12-month commitment. I've been in places where with Vertical Vibe where they don't charge rent at all and the sales were good, but they're only open 2 days a week. So you don't have that consistent flow of traffic. Yeah. This place is you create your stuff, you drop it off, you tag it, and they maintain the spaces. If something gets lost, they'll put it back in your space for you. What a concept. I mean, I joined Etsy the first year I was doing the lamps as a committed project. And I thought, what a waste, because I paid to be elevated. Nothing ever sold. It was like. This, you need to touch, feel, see, experience, as you did with the lamp when you went, ooh, right. It's that aha moment when you go, that's so cool. And again, the tugging on the heartstrings. I had one of those as a kid, or my grandmother had that as a kid. So it really is about making the human connection. And that's what the painted tree does. It brings it off the computer screen where you could search for hours and not find anything, but you walk around and within an hour, and there's people filling their carts with unique handmade pieces locally, supporting local. And so they started with 18 of these stores, not started, but they had 18 stores last year. They're now up to 25 and still growing. Mm-hmm. It's an amazing concept. It really is.
Yeah, because you got all these home-based businesses that can't afford the rent for a full storefront that they'd stand alone, but to share the space. I mean, I've been there now a couple of times myself, and it is like I never would have found these places. Mm-hmm. But when I was in there, I'm like, oh my gosh, I could see buying that for so and so and that for so, like it was like I could just see all the gifts I would ever need to buy people. It was all unique. Yeah, it was, and everyone that was there, like some of the stalls, they weren't manned, as you say, like you drop your stuff off, and it was like, oh, where are they? Where's the owner of this one? Like, and they didn't even need to be there for, while people are shopping. So it felt like there was a bit of an element of trust as well.
And there's a good rapport between a lot of them. We're not just vendors, we're frienders. So I ran into the couple that owns Old Main Street. I've admired their stuff for the longest time at Barrett Street Antiques, and they were setting up a booth. And I'm like, oh, I didn't realize this was your booth. And we're talking about collaborating or even trying to get the word out on our own with flyers that would be placed at the hotels of the oceanfront. You get a good overcast day or it's raining, nobody wants to go to the beach. Come on over to the painted tree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't already done that themselves.
It's getting there. People are working together. Even the painted tree is doing a lot to get the word out, and the staff is all new there. A handful of people, vendors, are a little upset with things, but when you overall look at the whole picture, it is a phenomenal venue to just be able to and provide you more time to create, because all you have to do is drop it off, tag it, and go home and start making more again.
Yeah. Is it 100% full?
Oh, baby. So I found out about it a week before they did their soft opening on May 7th.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, well, just walk around and see if you can find a booth that's open. I said, well, I'll take this one. Well, that's taken already. Well, how do you know? Look on the app. The app will tell you which one it's taken. So I found another one.
Oh.
All right, I'll take that one. Well, that one's taken too. I'm like, it doesn't say so on the app. Come on. So I finally got the one booth. And then I called Eric Ward and he goes, well, you got to let me in on your booth. So the two of us, and it's worked out phenomenally. I turned around, he came back, he had the booth already decorated with his vintage records on the wall, which really made the whole thing pop, I thought.
Yeah, it looks
and
really
his
good.
guitars and yeah, he's got a keen eye, which he got from his mom for staging and developing a very, very good look. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it comes through in his art too. Like the guitar art that he has is like, it's amazing. If anyone wants to go and have a look at that, he I think he posts some pictures of it. On
He just put 2 new pieces up this week. One is a piece he made during the election. His wife's family is diehard Democrat. His parents were diehard Republican, and they don't butt heads. Phenomenal. Good. Kudos to them. But
yeah,
the guitar piece is amazing. It's made from buttons and a vintage American flag box, and just incredible American history of both sides of the American political system. Yeah, very, very cool.
yeah, I'll have to keep an eye out for that one. So at some point, it sounds like you're spending a little bit more time with this business venture. Do you want to go full time, or is it something you're going to do when you retire? What's the plan?
I'm all over the map. Real estate is a big passion of mine. The economy has not helped that situation, but I'm still looking for my next rental property. It's very rewarding. I've been on ships since I was 18 years old. Then went to a merchant marine academy, and I quit sailing around 2001. And it's just I'm all over the map. Just 1 minute the passion is in the real estate when the market's good, and then I'll focus on the lamps, and then when I have time from my day job. Yeah. So, but yeah, it would be a cool thing to open a store of my own one day, or set up in more locations around town. I've had my stuff at Room Blooms and more up in Hilton Village, also at the Joe Louis Pop Shop. Let's see, where else? The Unique Antique Market, several places around town. But the Painted Tree by far is the most unique setup I've ever seen. It's quite the place. And it's amazing how so many vendors at that one location in Virginia Beach have locations in Oklahoma, Chicago, Colorado, and they make trips where they bring stuff, drop it off, and they'll come back 3 months later and change it out again.
Wow.
Amazing.
Enough to cover their travel and.
I guess so, but they're selling. They're selling.
I thought it was purely like local businesses, but I didn't realize.
No. So they're opening up a location very close to my sister in North Carolina, outside of Mecklenburg, I think. So I'm considering, when I go to visit her, set up a station down there.
Yeah,
there's talk about setting up in New Jersey, where I still have a lot of family and friends. That would be a good little side trip, and all a tax write-off at the same time. So it's all very, very good.
Yeah, free trips. Oh, wow. Well, it sounds like you've got lots planned and juggling a few balls there.
A few.
Just a few.
Got to get my daughter through college. She starts college this year. This whole thing with her starting in with me 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. The kid is just amazing. After she earned my old truck, she took my truck, and she's been doing doggy daycare and doing food delivery, and she's heading up to college with a bank full of money that I never had when I started college. So she's done really well. The life lessons have worked out for her.
It sounds like you set her up very well on like an entrepreneurial journey herself. Yeah, just starting your business with her. Not many people get the chance to do that. Must have been a good experience to have that with her, and for her to have that with you.
It was probably of the 10 years of doing this, that was the most fun, having her side by side and going to some of the events. Yeah. That was with the first ones we attended together with Leah at the Rustic Cottage on Shore Drive. They had every third Thursday of the month in the fall. And we'd go down there, I'd go pick her up real quick. We'd rush down to Shore Drive, set up our little table with our lamps. So yeah, very good.
Yeah. You mentioned now I'm doing a bit of a throwback, but you mentioned you're from New Jersey.
Oh, easy.
What brought you here in the first place?
Ships.
Okay.
Ships.
Right. That
Big
makes
shipping
a lot
area.
of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean, and what made it most attractive was homes up in New Jersey in the 80s and 90s were 250, 300. And we're only starting to hit that now here, for the most part, or a couple of years ago. Now it's 400, 500.
Mm.
So it was insane. And in addition to that, when you buy a home in Jersey, not only are you paying the mortgage, but your monthly taxes equal the mortgage.
what?
Isn't that crazy?
Is
So
that a big tax?
it's just the tax state overtaxed. Yeah,
That is crazy. Wow.
it is crazy. So you pay a mortgage of $2,500, you got to pay the taxes of $2,500, $5,000 a month home. Yeah,
Have they had a lot of
crazy.
people leave the area just because
Yeah,
of
yeah, very interesting.
Yeah. So do you like it down here?
I love it down here. My parents had a summer house in Cape May, 4 or 5 miles from the beach, close to where the ferry comes in. So we started going there my sophomore year of high school. And I always thought, this is so cool. You're down at the beach all year long. And so now it's the same thing. I live 3.5 miles from the beach. So the goal with the property and the investing in real estate is that every year I got a little bit closer to the beach.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Eventually you'll be like right on the beach. But
And on the
then
water.
sea level rises and you'll be like, I need to move back.
Right.
Well, that's a great note to end on.
That sounds depressing now, but no.
Meet me at the beach. Meet me at the beach in about 5 years.
All right, but we are running out of time. So, Tim, did you have any last comments or thoughts you wanted to share with our audience?
Come on down to the Painted Tree. Come on down to Vertical Vibes. See what we have. See what local art is, and especially local art with a philanthropic twist with Lori Dunn, with what's going on down there at the Vertical Vibe. I'll give a shout out to my friend Nesto and Michael Morgan and Michael Nash and what they do, and Amy. Trying to think. There's so many good artists down there. There really are. Sean Brown, who is he's autistic, and he developed his art skill in high school, where he does cartoon-like characters, and they're phenomenal. So yeah, I can't say enough great things about that place. So yeah, come on out, check out local art, and support your local artists.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Well, thank you.
Awesome.
You're very welcome. Thank you, and
Thank you.
love what you guys do.
We appreciate that.
All right. So you've been listening to the Retail Is podcast. If you've enjoyed what you've heard, you can find more at retail-is-podcast, or you can search YouTube for Retail Alliance. I'm Abby Cheyenne.
And I'm Kylie Ross-Seibert.
Thank you for listening.
I'm Tim Dooley.
And that's Tim Dooley. Thank you for listening.